Alright, we're at Mr. Baker's house today. It's a buddy of mine, and we came over here to spread some wood chips, and he's going to give us a tour of his backyard.
Alright, so we just put down about a truckload of mulch. I think this was a Tipo mulch. I think Jay got probably about 4 tons of it. Need to get rid of some, so I took a half a ton. So we got our peppers over here. Some nightshade keeps growing here. Keep trying to weed it out. Hopefully this will tamp it down after I rip it out again. We have our 3-year-old tomato bush here that won't seem to die, which is great. Constantly produces. As you can see, we have one right now.
So that tomato's survived for 3 years?
It has survived for 3. Not that one, but the branch.
Gotcha.
You know, so otherwise I wouldn't eat that tomato.
Yeah.
And then we've got the morongos that we planted from seed that Jay turned me on to about 3 years ago. I've never trimmed them. However, he's telling me I should trim them this year so they'll branch out even further next year. So we're going to cut them back probably here in the next couple of weeks, and then see what happens in the spring.
So were these planted by seed?
They're all planted by seed, purchased off of Amazon. 3 of them per hole, and each hole was dug about 3 feet deep because they have a tap root, and we're talking everything here. The soil's not very good, and so a river rock underneath here for fill when they built the house. Typical Arizona. Next to the mountains, everything else underneath that is caliche. So unless you got some dynamite, you're not getting very big holes.
I don't have dynamite.
Well, it's too bad.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and then we got our ficus here, sitting outside in the pot. Been doing pretty good. It's about a year old. Usually feed that with the espresso machines leftovers from the coffee grounds. We got some right here. It does really well on that. Put a little bit of mulch in there too. And we got some raspberry and some blueberry bushes here that survive the summer only by putting heavy netting over them. Remove the netting, and not sure if they're going to make it through the winter. We'll give it a shot. And this here was corn that didn't make it. And here's an Arizona ash. It's not doing so good. We thought it would be growing a lot quicker. It's supposed to grow 3 foot a year. We've had it about 8 months. It's gotten, well, it's gone about 2.5 feet, but it hasn't done anything more than this. So we just fed that too with some wood chips. We'll see how that turns out.
This is going into year 2?
This will be going into the 2nd year, yes.
Okay.
And this is the same. We got these all at the same time. This is a Tipo. Don't know why this happened. Jay's telling me to cover it up with some organic bark material, but it keeps flaking off. Yep. Somehow it's growing well.
Yeah,
we also
good.
fed this today too. So that one was also purchased at the same time, so going on year 2. This one over here is a mulberry. And this one here really hasn't done anything. It didn't grow any fruit or anything this year. It hasn't grown any taller. It hasn't branched out, but it's always had leaves on it, and it looks like it's slightly burned. So we'll see how that, if this helps it a little bit anyways.
This is a fruiting mulberry?
This should be a fruiting mulberry, however, it didn't do that. So 2nd year, hopefully it'll produce some fruit. We've got some fresh growth right here, so hopefully it'll take off if we don't get a hard freeze.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we also mulched out the entire back garden. Which the wife has put all kinds of different plants in here for flowering and beautification. We have a morongo tree here that's been here for about 2 years. There was no hole dug for that one, so that's the only height it's ever gotten. So we'll see what happens with a little bit of mulch. Maybe it'll do a little bit better with the mulch, but I doubt it, because we're talking the tap root, and there was no hole other than they put the seed in.
It's a cool planter there you get.
Yeah, pretty nice. All full of wood chips now.
Yep, so I had wood chips delivered and spread some in our backyard and brought some over to Mr. Baker's house here, and hoping that'll help some of the plants. We're in the middle of winter, so a lot of this stuff is still pretty green for wintertime.
Yeah,
That's
well,
good.
It is, what, 68 degrees out.
Yeah, that helps.
Yep. And then we have the actual garden with the planter that I built about a year ago. Jay helped me fill it full of soil. And then we just went ahead and added the wood chips in here.
This is super cool.
Yeah, we added this netting for the shade because such intense sun during the summer. And this is a eggplant.
Eggplant's doing good.
Yeah, it's thriving very well, but it really hasn't produced any fruit. And then again, we have another tomato bush right here with some tomatoes coming up. We just mulched all this too in here.
So he's got tomatoes in late December.
Yep.
I want to point out that we're next to the house here, and he's also got a cover on here, so it looks like it's providing a lot of protection for the plants.
Yep. And we got some snap peas here. I don't recall what that is. Some kind of cabbage or broccoli. And this also, I don't remember.
Beets.
I don't know if that's beets or some type of lettuce she planted. And then of course we're growing our mesquite tree from seed. See if it can actually grow up here, and we'll trim it and cap it to provide shade so we can eventually get rid of this right here. And then we'll take these posts out and hopefully all this will grow out. This here is Tomatillos. Little teeny tiny ones, never really produced any fruit. I don't know why. I think the birds just get in here and ravage it. It's changed color since the weather changed, got a little cool at night.
Yeah, we had a couple nights in the 30s, so.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about this temperature gauge that you have over here?
So what we did here for the Christmas holidays, Lindy got me a temperature gauge here, which will monitor what the temperature is basically in the garden and the humidity level. So last night it was only 47 degrees here, however it was 37 degrees just slightly outside it. So that's going to provide a 10-degree difference.
Awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll keep it going. And of course there's a rose bush here that has survived. Puts a little mulch in that too. This is brought to you by Lowell's discarded plant, the one that you see on the shelf that's supposed to die.
Clearance rack?
Yep, $5.
Nice.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
We all like cheap.
Oh yeah, really cheap that grows. Just gotta take care of it a little bit. We got some more mesquite here from seed. And then we got our Anaheim Peppers right here. They're doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's doing really well.
Yeah. So they still got flowers on them. They're all kinds of fruit coming up here. And then another mesquite from seed. So eventually, like you said, I'll trim it and hopefully provide some shade. And this is the one my daughter had to have, the ghost pepper plant. I will never eat it though, because I know from what I hear it's rated in British thermal units, and I don't like that kind of heat. But as long as it looks pretty, and it does. So
Yeah, it looks like it's doing well. The pepper plants look like they're taking the winter well.
They are. I think it has to do with the mesh and the warmth that's staying in at night. And then I also learned that I was overwatering, which is why nothing produced any fruit. So we cut back on our watering, about only doing about 1/8 of what we used to do. So we'll see how it ends up working. Go out front and check out the big trees. Okay, so this one here is a Giacaronda. It's been in the ground about 5 years. I bought this also at Lowe's as a 15-gallon plant. It's been doing pretty well. It's what I'd say about 14 foot tall. And we just ended up feeding this too. So hopefully this will help it get a little bit bigger.
Right on.
And then we got the Christmas tree. This is the Ficus. This was a 5-gallon plant 3 years ago. It's doing pretty good. We want to see how I'm about 6 foot tall, so it's about 6 foot, a little bit bigger than that. We'll see how this does after we fed it. This took up about a wheelbarrow and a half of mulch, so hopefully that'll give this some major growing power. It'll end up turning into a very large tree. We'll see what it turns out to next year. But And, you know, the lights keep it warm at night, so if it gets cold, it should survive.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll do a update video maybe in the early summer,
Yeah,
to see how everything's doing. But yeah, this is my buddy Mr. Baker's house, and he's really starting to get into it, and so we brought a bunch of wood chips over to see if it'll help. And what do you use for fertilizer most of the time?
most of the time, fish emulsion.
Fish emulsion.
Best stuff to use.
Yeah.
And that, and I've done some of the foliar feeding that Seamus O'Leary talks about on his website. Went down there and picked some up. You put it in basically like a bug spray unit. I think it's like 2 teaspoons for the compressed system, and you just spray it on the trees and the leaves. You know, since our soil is so bad here.
Do you mix that in with like a gallon of water or something?
It's about 2 gallons for 2 tablespoons, I believe.
Okay.
I do that like once every 3 months.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for letting us do a tour of your backyard, and we'll do a follow-up video to show how the yard's progressing.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks.